Hey, what's up? Yo, yo, yo. If you watch Singles Inferno, maybe you'll know that. Today, I was going to record this maybe 2 days ago, but I was like violently ill, whatever. And because of that, I did finish this book a while ago, 3 days ago. That's kind of a while ago. 72 hours is a long time, in my opinion. The lighting in here is not giving right now. 1 second. So today we're going to talk about why I'm done with Abby Jimenez. A little preface on why I'm done with Abby Jimenez is that I've given her enough chances, honestly. And Abby, if you're watching this is nothing to do with you as a person. I'm sure you're obviously doing well as an author, I'm obviously reading your stuff, like little old me, so who gives two cents what I think about? But maybe someone does. Maybe someone's sitting there agreeing with me going, you know what? I'm literally on the same page as you. I'm also very much done with her. Because if we just go back in history a little bit, I actually started off reading Abby Jimenez, her book, Just for the Summer. And then I really hated that, but that's for another story. We moved over to Part of Your World. I love that book. So we're kind of on a really weird, bumpy ride right now. I finished my last book with her, which was Yours Truly. That one was hovering around like a 3, it was good, and then it kind of got really bad. And this book that I finished, which is the book we're going to talk about, and I've been kind of thinking about how I'm going to talk about this, whether or not I'm going to kind of explain the whole thing, but this book was so everywhere. There was so many things that happened in it that I just don't even know if I can finish telling this book and why I did not like it without having to explain the entire thing, which could take like an hour, and then I'd have to edit it, which is a really long time. We're still thinking about that. We're still thinking about what we're gonna do, but this book that we're gonna talk about, which is Friend Zone. Friend Zone is actually her debut novel from what I found out, and I absolutely hated this book. There will be spoilers in this, so if you don't like spoilers and you wanna read this book, well, I suggest you kind of click out and come back later. We'll be here waiting for you. Where do we start off? I really am trying to learn how to describe a book without completely ruining it, but man, I do not have that level of maneuvering around stuff yet. But when I catch you, Ricky, I will be super, super good at it. But for now, we're just gonna go. I'm gonna tell you all the reasons why I absolutely hated this book. This was my last straw with Miss Jimenez. First off, this book is basically, again, a contemporary romance. So with all contemporary romances, there's a meet cute, and then they're obviously forced into hanging around each other, which is kind of what happens in this scenario with Kristen and Josh, who are the two main characters in this book that will end up being together. The biggest problem is that Kristen is having some infertility issues. She knows that she possibly might have to have a hysterectomy at some point. And the other thing is that Josh wants a huge family. This dude wants 9 kids. Some other notes here that I should note is that Kristen is an entrepreneur. She has her own dog pet business where she makes little staircases for little doggos to get up on furniture, which is really cute. And that Josh is a firefighter side carpenter, which is how he ends up getting to be forced into being in close proximity with Kristen because she is looking for a carpenter since hers just quit. So who else to ask besides this super awesome firefighter that is her best friend's husband's best friend? And yeah, that's kind of the beginning of the whole story. The part where wow. Every time I think about this, I just get so absolutely frustrated because I think to myself, why are we condoning this kind of behavior? Off the bat, already within 7 to 10% of this book is that Kristen and Josh are obviously very attracted to each other. It is made known. However, that is an issue because Kristen does have a longtime boyfriend who is in deployment in the military somewhere, and he's going to be returning to California in about 3 weeks where they are. And he's going to live with her. And you're asking, why would this be a bad thing? Obviously, it's kind of a bad thing because she is in close proximity with this guy she thinks is super hot, and she makes it very apparent to us that she thinks he's super hot. She says she's never cheated, but I think we have a very vague definition of what has never cheated means, because she is basically saying she cannot control herself. She has to do things that is deterring this man away from her, because if so happened he somehow kind of crossed that boundary, she would have to give in. She could not just cross her legs and and say no to it all. So she does weird shit like put curlers in her hair and looks messy and stuff, and I'm just like, she's constantly visualizing him like without his clothes on. Like, I don't know, you know, I guess that's not cheating really, but if you're kind of already thinking about it, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we're talking based off of semantics or whatever, sure. I don't even know if I use that word right. The book is actually kind of insane, honestly. And they just hang out together and they watch movies together and do stuff like get food together. And like in my scenario, like I can't imagine my boyfriend being very happy with me doing any of those things with another man. Like getting a piggyback ride, watching movies together alone. It sounds not good. It sounds not good for her. That's where we kind of start off with my major flaw with Kristen as a character, is she's cheating on her boyfriend for sure. The other part that drives me insane is that in this point where like she's basically cheating on her boyfriend, she literally says, "Oh my God, I need my boyfriend to come back so that I can stop thinking about this guy." You're already gone, girl. Like, just leave. Like, you break up with your boyfriend. Like, just do it. And her reasoning for this is like super selfish. It's like, I have to be with this guy that like basically I'm like sort of in love with because like he doesn't want to have kids, so we kind of match each other, instead of this guy that I'm actually in love with because he wants to have a lot of kids. Maybe just don't be with anybody. Like, you don't have to do that. Her brain, I can tell that she's 24 because they always say by 25 your brain develops, and maybe just like it hasn't all formed in here yet. You know, things are not connecting fully in there. The next huge major flaw in Kristen, and like the thing that absolutely ruins this book, is that Kristen is an absolute pick-me. I've read a lot of books and she is the worst person. I've never read such a book where like a pick-me was just exuded so strong. The epitome of like, I'm not like other girls. I'm better than other girls. I don't do those stupid frilly things like makeup or flowers or the color pink. I'm just one of the bros. And we see this in a lot of scenarios. Let me give you some examples. The other parts that I have to add in here is that Kristen is also, the author wants you to know that because she's also not like other girls, she's quirky. And we see this in a few ways. One of those ways is that Kristen somehow finds a way to send a potato to her best friend. And it is a prank and it explodes into a whole bunch of glitter. Other things that we know that she's super quirky is that when she has her wedding, it's not going to be romantic at all. It's going to be entertaining. That's something else, but all right. And then to add on top of that, she's super duper quirky because she actually is willing to go and TP her friend's house at 1 a.m, even though she's 24 years old and the guy that she has a crush on is, you know, touching 30. But that's neither again here nor there. Just a little emphasis on who Kristen is. I just so we remember Kristen as a person. We see this in the fact that Kristen is talking to her boyfriend on the phone and he's far away. He says to her, "It's Valentine's Day tomorrow." What a sweet thing to say, right? You're remembered. I love that. I love that for you, Tyler. That's her boyfriend's name. And she goes, "You're not gonna give me flowers, are you? They're such a waste."
We do not care.
You know, okay, fine. You don't like flowers. Whatever, I guess. He goes and says, "Give me something useful that I'll actually use." Fucking flowers, like, come on, bro. Like, you can get flowers for $4 at Trader Joe's. It's the thought that counts. I don't know, like, there's something about not liking flowers to me that just screams big red flag, in my opinion. The next is that Kristen loves Quentin Tarantino movies. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Actually, you can make this shit up because Abby Jimenez made this shit up and put it into a book. She likes Quentin Tarantino movies. She named her dog after some character from Pulp Fiction, I think. I've never watched Pulp Fiction. I've never watched a Quentin Tarantino movie, so I don't know. I only know the rumors about film bros and what kind of people they are, so that's all I'm saying. You know, if there's rumors about it, if there's stereotypes about it, let's just possibly believe those people for a second. What else? Oh yeah, she's super spunky. She's 5'2" and she's willing to tell guys to just fuck off. I get it. She isn't down to eat, you know, good fancy food. You know, fuck a tuna tartare. She wants a burger, a taco from Skid Row. I, like, honestly, if I ever met a girl like this in real life, I would be like, you're so unserious right now. Like, we're not going to Skid Row, girl, in downtown LA at the time when darkness has enveloped the earth. You want to go and get a taco from, why don't we do this like in the morning? Like, we could do that in the morning. Like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you know, we can get tacos from a lot of other places. Let's think about our safety. Maybe we use a few brain cells. She doesn't have any, because that's, I think, what happens if you're a huge pick-me. You lose a few of those. But I feel like we really, really start to see this when Josh goes on a date with a girl, and she's a yoga instructor who's a vegan. Also, by the way, this book, every vegetarian vegan, you're catching a stray in here, you guys. I'm so sorry. You didn't even deserve this, but you are. She hates you guys for some strange reason. We don't know why. It's a very pick-me thing. Sorry that, you know, we have different morals, and I'm not even a vegetarian, you guys. But I just feel like I had to point that out. There's like literally 3 instances where they bring up being vegetarian / vegan in like a negative connotation. Yeah, so Josh goes on a date with this girl, and she's a yoga person, maybe yoga instructor or something, who's a vegan, and they come back together. They're sitting down on the couch and they're having a beer. He cracks her open a beer because she's not a wine girl, you know? She's not one of those girls. The image that I have of this scene is like they're both sitting down together, holding a beer, watching a Quentin Tarantino movie, and he goes, you know, I just really wasn't feeling that girl. She's over here like,
she could have been like super bendy, bro.
And they're just homies, you know? And they're about to go get some fries together and any other masculine food that you can think of, pizza, like stuff that just doesn't have fiber in it. I feel like that's, God, she sucks. You know, they're having this moment on the couch, and he basically just like, women like that are too much work.
Oh, hell no, man. What the?
Women like that are too much work. Oh man, this book is really written for blue-collared men who hate women. Kristen is someone's dream girl, but she's a dream girl to who exactly? I'll give you a second to think about that. There you go. There you go. So basically from 0% of the book to about a third of the way of the book, the hiccup that these two have is that they are super attracted to each other. They want to bang super bad, but Kristen has a boyfriend, and he's coming back in T-3 weeks, and they can't be together, even though they're basically kind of like doing stuff they shouldn't really be doing together as like just homies. And finally, Kristen's boyfriend ends up breaking up with her via voicemail, and she literally, as soon as that voicemail enters her ears and leaves it out the other ear, she is dropping her phone and she's banging Josh.
Daddy, chill.
And so from 30% until the end of the book, the issue at hand here is no longer that Kristen has a boyfriend. It's that Josh wants to have a lot of kids, and she knows Josh wants to have a lot of kids, but she already has these issues with her having possibly infertility. From like 30% to like the end of the book, that's like the major thing that we're seeing this whole time. A lot of that bulk of this book is just Kristen pushing and pulling Josh away. I can remember absolutely almost nothing else in this book besides the fact that Kristen is basically begging Josh to give her what she needs in terms of physicality, affection, and her constantly pushing him away, saying we can't be together because of da 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 da. It's only a friendship thing. Like, you have to be dating other people, la di da di da. But also, like, I'm jealous of you going on these dates. It is so ridiculous, and it's super funny because the synopsis reads, Kristen is a no drama kind of girl. For no drama, this is a lot. It sounds like you're very much drama. Like, you know exactly what you're doing. Don't piss me off right now. And it's really frustrating, but I do understand where the author is trying to frame this as like it's a very embarrassing feeling for her to tell someone that she has this medical issue. But I do think in terms of it, it's very unfair because, again, we're watching the bulk of this book play out as Kristen is not being very honest with Josh into terms of why they can't be together. So Josh is seeing it as a, like, is there something wrong with me? What's the issue at hand here? Like, it's basically just one huge miscommunication trope. Like, if they had a sit down conversation and, you know, Kristen was the cool girl that he really thought she was, she would have been able to sit her ass down and been like, yeah, here's the underlying issue, and this is why we can't be together. It would have been that easy, but unfortunately I had to sit through that whole thing. The other part of this book that I actually also hate too is when we go back to the whole, like, you know, she's just one of the bros, like,
Pop me open a beer, bro.
is her boyfriend, again, we're gonna go back to that 30% mark. The reason why I don't think she likes her boyfriend, even though she claims she loves him, is that he's not like her, and the fact that he goes to wine bars and like charcuterie boards. She said, I don't really like charcuterie boards because the stuff on it is weird. Girl, it's cheese. It's cheese and cured meat. Maybe some crackers. Sounds like a lunch bowl to me, but she's not, again, she's not fucking with a tuna tartare, you guys. No pasta for her, just pizza, hamburgers. Also, more spoilers into this book is that there's a death that occurs which brings them together, and it's a death that is close to both parties. And within this death that is happening, which is very traumatic, Josh is still asking, like, what are we? I feel like that was kind of like, this death in this book didn't really make a lot of sense for me, besides it pushing the next book that she had in mind forward, because it was so weird and random, and it didn't play into like the main character stories that much, because I'm thinking to myself, like, so someone that's really important to both of you just died, and the question you're asking at hand right now is, what are we? That's not even in my thoughts right now. And like, the crazy part is like, she's still ignoring him at this point, because now she's like, I finally have to let you go. We cannot be together. Even though at this point she's already told him. And what's funny about this is she's told him about her infertility issues, and he's made peace with it already. He's like, okay, cool. Like, that's fine. I just won't have kids. And she's like, no, I won't let you give up your dreams. And he's like, but I want to be with you. And she's like, no. And he's like, you're in love with me. And she's like, no. And that's from 75% until 100% of the book. That is now the issue, is no. She does not want that for him. She does not want that for her. She doesn't want him to resent her in the future, blah, 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 all this other stuff. Again, I just think it's so weird. Like, someone just died, and this is still the question that you have. She's icing him out at this point when someone really important just died, and he needs like a shoulder to cry on. And she's just like, sorry I wasn't there for you. Like, at like 100% of the book, I'm like, you suck, dude. Like, someone really important just died and you've been MIA? I don't know. That's like really fucked up in my opinion. Like, also very cool girl of you, I guess. No, that just rubbed me the wrong way. Like, if I had a friend and Josh was my friend who's like, yeah, this girl that I super like, and basically she told me she's in love with me. Also, someone really important just died and she wasn't there. She just ghosted because she says like, I can't fall in love with her anymore. Like, I just shouldn't be around her. I'm like, dude, like, block her number. Like, we should go egg her house. Like, we should do weird, quirky things like that and like ruin her business. Like, let's leave bad Yelp reviews for her business account. That'd be so dope. Like, that's what I would have done. But instead, Josh was like, no, like, it's fine. Like, I love her so much. Other parts of this book that I really, really hated is that I think that this could have been good. It really does bother me because Abby Jimenez can write. She can write a book. I was actually listening to this book and it's not poorly written at all. It's not written in like a weird way where it feels like AI-ish. It's just, she has a tough time writing likable characters. These are not characters I would remotely even want to be around, like, fictionally. I wouldn't even want to be around them in person. If these were my coworkers, you can best believe I'm never going to an after work party. You can best believe I'm never eating in the lunchroom, because what are you talking about? The book kind of ends off in like a weird, like, we're happy and in love, even though like I'm not really sure why she put me through literally hell and back. So yeah, I actually really hated this book. Really main reason is that Kristen sucked. She sucked as a person. I found no enjoyable, likable qualities about her at all, besides maybe the fact that she's like a really good friend. When character dies, all of a sudden, Kristen has OCD now. And I don't know if that was portrayed accurately in my opinion, but again, it was giving like, oh yeah, like I'm super OCD about like X, Y, and Z, and so like I go into blah, blah, blah. And then she talks about a velociraptor, like how now she's like super tunnel vision, and this velociraptor is holding her in place, and it's making her do X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's a little interesting. Yeah, I don't really like the way she portrayed that. Actually, there were so many bad points to this book, but I guess the point that I'm trying to make is I'm I'm a little done with her, you guys. I don't think I've ever really liked any of the characters that she's put in here. I find that out of all the books I've read by her so far, every woman character has just been portrayed off. I don't think that these are the right characters in my opinion. I think they're flawed in a weird, strange way. Like I don't think therapy can help them. I actually don't think therapy helps pygmies, respectfully. I think that's something even God can't come and fix, but hey. So this book is getting a 1 out of 5. No. I actually give this book 2. I did give this book a 2 out of 5. Maybe like 1.5. We're gonna go 1.5. Solid. 2 out of 5 stars, just because it wasn't written poorly. I hated every one of these characters. That was it. That was all I have for you. Hopefully this isn't so choppy. I felt like I was all over the place, but it's just so hard when so many things happened in this book, and I hated almost every single minute of the 10 hours I ended up listening to this. And I hope you did too. I hope you read this book and you thought, man, I really hated this, because I want us to have something in common. Anyways, see ya.